red page.
Good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So glad to have you with us this morning. And for the first time this week, we have Tobin.
I'm back.
Yay!
I'm still a little hobbled, but I'm here because I ran a marathon.
You did, and you have an injured foot.
I do. Yeah, it's funny if you were to watch me walking around. I look like a little old man. I'm kind of shuffling my feet because my legs were super sore. My legs are doing a little better today, but my feet are still covered in blisters and bruises and yeah.
Yeah, you've had bad luck with shoes this year.
Yeah, it's been a rough running year for me. But boy did I enjoy the LA Marathon this year though. The weather was perfect. The stuff along the route was great. The various bands and groups that were cheering us on. There was a real good energy this year, real positive vibe.
Well, and you have run it a couple of times where it's been, north of 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's just miserable.
Yeah, that's the worst. You don't want to run when it's super hot out. But it was a really nice marathon. I'm glad I did it. All my students finished and across the finish line. We had one student though who at mile 7 twisted an ankle and toughed it out and finished. And then yesterday we found out that he may have broken his foot. It's too swollen to get a clean X-ray, so they're going to have to go back in 2 weeks and X-ray again. But
they gave him a boot and told him to stay off of it, right?
Gave him a boot, told him to stay off of it. And I just have so much respect for this young man. He's so tough to go that many miles, 19 miles basically, on potentially a broken foot. Yeah.
That's hardcore.
That is hardcore. But these kids, they train for it, and they're so dedicated. They really want that medal. They want that accomplishment.
Yeah, because they worked hard.
Yeah.
Because they worked hard.
Yeah.
So, speaking of pain, the makers of OxyContin are in some legal trouble. They have to pay an unbelievably big lawsuit. For OxyContin maker, $270 million settlement is going to potentially cause them to move into bankruptcy.
Is there a pill you can take to take the sting out of that pain?
Yes, but it's horribly addictive. The maker of OxyContin, which of course is Purdue Pharma, and they're really the ones that falsely, that they made claims about how OxyContin is not addictive.
Yeah. Oh, it's so safe.
It's safe. It's safe. That it was overblown that opioids were that addictive, and they trumped all this crap up and all the lies. Sorry, I'm a little sleepy this morning, and they've gotten their tuchuses handed to them. The maker of OxyContin has agreed to pay $270 million to resolve claims in Oklahoma that it helped fuel the opioid crisis and thereby contributed to thousands of overdose deaths. Multiple news outlets are now reporting. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter, who sued 13 opioid manufacturers for promoting them as safe for extended use, is expected to announce a settlement with Purdue Pharma, owned by the Sackler family, at a Tuesday press conference in Tulsa. That was yesterday, so it should have happened. It comes a day after the state Supreme Court refused a request by Purdue, Johnson & Johnson, and Teva Pharmaceuticals to delay an upcoming trial for 100 days. Per NBC News, charges that Purdue deceptively marketed OxyContin would have been on full display in a televised trial beginning on May 28th. The company faces 2,000 lawsuits nationwide.
Watch that number go up after this settlement.
Yeah.
Any person who has a family member who died from opioids, if they ever had contact with any of these prescription ones, is probably reading this now and ready to jump on board because these guys are culpable, I think.
So the settlement means the public will not hear a full recounting of Purdue's actions, including testimony by the Sackler family. It notes, this is according to the New York Times, it notes more than $100 million settlement will help fund a new addiction treatment and research center at Oklahoma State University, while the Sacklers will contribute another $75 million to the center over 5 years. The family, one of America's wealthiest, wasn't named in the suit. However, Massachusetts Attorney General has accused exec Richard Sackler of pushing sales reps to persuade doctors to prescribe the highest dosage of OxyContin so as to maximize profits. Oklahoma was seeking more than $20 billion in damages, according to Reuters, which reports that a bankruptcy filing by Purdue could be on the horizon.
Yeah, and that's
how they'll weasel out of it.
Yeah, and that's how the little guy gets screwed in the end, because you'll be at the end of the line and they'll say, sorry, no money for you. And all these wealthy people will still be living in their mansions and living in their high life as the corporation goes bankrupt.
Right, which is disgusting.
It is disgusting.
So, but I wonder if they could poke through that veil, they could poke through the protection, because the family it's not a corporation in a publicly traded company where you're really having people who are not members of the family running it, right? This is the family runs it, and the family made claims, and so can that veil be pierced?
It's interesting. I think about like the mafia, right, and how they were dealing illegal drugs and how they would be treated versus these guys who, under the auspices of a respectable business,
right,
are able to sort of use the laws to avoid the consequences. And these guys are drug peddlers in the worst sense of that connotation.
Yes, they are. Well, and I think about all of the pill mills that popped up and created these addictions, and there are whole areas in small town America throughout the Midwest and throughout the East where a huge chunk of the population is addicted to opioids or was addicted to opioids. Many of them have died.
Yeah. Ohio was really hard hit too.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of places that just...
Ohio and West Virginia.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And places in what we would call middle America that had never seen heroin now, because they went from OxyContin. When they couldn't get that anymore, they moved over to heroin. People who had never seen this problem, all of a sudden it's exploding.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
So it's interesting as you got to the end of the article, and it said that Oklahoma was seeking more than $20 billion. And when you see that they were seeking $20 billion and they're only going to get the 200 and whatever million, you're thinking to yourself, wow, these guys got off light.
Except that I think that that was an attention grabbing amount that they were seeking. I think they probably knew they weren't going to get $20 billion.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm suddenly thinking they got off light, Aaron. Let's hit them for another couple $100 million.
Well, I think the lawsuits are going to continue to come, and it'll be interesting to watch how each state handles them. I think that some states might be more punitive than others, and maybe if there's lawsuits coming from West Virginia or Ohio or some of these states that have been ravaged by this problem.
I wish that they could literally just put some of these folks in jail. I mean, that's how you treat the mafia guys, right?
Yeah.
It's not about you just pay a fine and you're good to go. I want to see Richard Sackler in jail.
Yeah.
I want to see these people who came up with these strategies, who pushed this stuff, who created this monster problem, in jail.
The reality is that opioids are effective in pain management, meaning, if somebody has had surgery, after I had surgery, I had morphine in the hospital, and, that made it made recovery manageable while I was in the hospital. And they sent me home with something, and I used it for a couple days and then stopped.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those who, once you start using, you can't stop. I mean, so how do you manage pain when the pain management that you have is addicting and could go in a very negative way? And, that's a dilemma for the medical community to solve.
It really is, and I don't know that we have good diagnostic tools for figuring out when people are in danger of being addicted, right? It's mostly self-reported stuff,
right? Right. And by that point, if they're reporting it, by that point it's too late. That means they're addicted, because otherwise you wouldn't think about it.
And the point where people become addicted is different for each person. So it's not like you can say, when you get to pill number 10.
Right.
Now we know you're an addict because you've had 10 pills. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't work that way. Some people, it's one pill and they're addicted. Other people, it's, they've had it for 2 or 3 months, and they've had hundreds of pills, and then all of a sudden, okay, now I can't stop. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. We need to have a guest who does know, who comes on and talks about this issue.
Some sort of doctor?
Some sort of pain management doctor.
Oh,
all right.
okay.
So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
Education is a right, not a privilege, and it is the civil rights issue of our generation. And Latino students disproportionately bear the crux of our educational crisis. The campus of Cal State San Bernardino is pleased to host the annual LEAD Summit, along with hundreds of viewing sites across the nation and globe, working together with our media partners to raise awareness and enhance the intellectual, cultural, and personal development of our community's educators, administrators, leaders, parents, and students. Please join us for Latino Education and Advocacy Days as we convene those sharing a common interest and commitment to the educational issues that impact Latinos. For more information, please visit leadsummit.csusb.edu. Again, that website is leadsummit.csusb.edu. The LEAD Summit, Latino Education and Advocacy Days, taking place at Cal State San Bernardino.
Thursday, March 28th at Cal State San Bernardino. The LEAD Summit starts at 8 a.m. Hey guys, this is Andrew Caravella. Just wanted to let you know that KCAA has a new listener line for all of you that have a phone. Now you can listen to KCAA in the grocery store, in the doctor's office, or when you want to pretend you're on the phone with someone just so that creeper will leave you alone. Call 720-835-3099 today and listen to your favorite KCAA radio shows. That number again, 720-835-3099. KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no caller or listener behind.
Ontario Host Lions Club is hoping you'll come out to their 10th annual We Serve golf tournament. Check-in is 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th at Sierra Laverne Country Club. Ontario Lions supports 7 local charities and 8 area projects. Dean Munoz is the golf tournament chair. Give him a call at 909-481-1180. That's 909-481-1180. Come on out and golf at Sierra Laverne Country Club on June 20th to support the Ontario Host Lions. 909-481-1180.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-298-8662. That's 800-298-8662. 800-298-8662.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. You were waiting for Ice, Ice, Baby.
I was. I was going to ask you, which song was it?
It was you then started hearing David Bowie sing. So, and that one goes da 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 da, and so there's an extra note in there.
Right, because there was a lawsuit error.
That's right, and he lost.
I know. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And he laughed all the way to the bank. All right,
Yes.
so the last story that we did was about Purdue Pharmaceuticals lawsuit. Now, it feeds into this next story. So a woman who was wary of prescription drugs took a supplement because she didn't want to take the statins. And the reason why she didn't want to take these statin drugs is because the shenanigans that the pharmaceutical industry has done to sell their medication, and obviously it's profit driven, and I'm not opposed to a profit motive, but because that they haven't always been truthful, people are like, I don't want to take that because I don't know that you're not lying to me, and I don't want to wreck myself. Well, she took a supplement because she thought it was safer because it's natural, and she got liver damage because of it.
So it's interesting because you and I have had this debate. You're more of a fan of supplements than I am. I don't trust any of them. I don't want to do anything. It's all bad.
It's all bad.
It's all bad.
Well, you remember Fen?
Yeah.
Like that was giving people heart disease and heart damage.
Yeah.
For people to lose weight.
So people are looking for a cure. They're looking for some good answer to these problems that they're dealing with. And a lot of times there are snake oil salesmen out there, and they're on both sides of the fence. They're in the legal pharmaceutical side that are pushing drugs that really shouldn't be out there. And we laugh when we see the list of all the side effects that seem worse than the disease they're meant to cure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And on the other side, when you have these pharmaceuticals, these supplements that they present as being as good as medicine, but we know they're not regulated, and that's the problem this woman had.
You could put horse manure in a capsule and call it a nutraceutical, and the FDA would have nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
So a woman who was wary of taking those prescription statins to lower her cholesterol took red yeast rice supplements instead and ended up with acute liver damage. After 6 weeks, 6 weeks, that's it. That's all it took, using the over-the-counter supplement, which contained the same chemical that statins use to reduce cholesterol, which is this monocolin K. The 64-year-old Michigan woman ended up in the hospital after developing a number of symptoms, including fatigue, bloating, dark urine, light-colored stool, and jaundice. The test showed a drug-induced liver injury, which doctors determined was likely caused by the supplements. The problem, of course, is that the supplements aren't regulated by the FDA.
Yeah.
Often taking supplements means taking an unknown dose of the active component. This is what according to the lead researcher on the case. As researchers explain, it doesn't matter whether monocolin K is derived synthetically, as it is with the pharmaceuticals, or naturally, as it is for the red yeast rice supplements, which contains a mix of fermented steamed rice and food fungus.
Ooh, I want to eat food fungus.
Well, you eat mushrooms all the time.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But too much of it can hurt the liver, as concentrated use in supplements is not measured or regulated, and it can vary widely. As tests have shown, red yeast rice has been known to cause serious liver damage in the past and can take months to recover. In this woman's case, she also reported drinking 2 glasses of red wine nightly while taking the supplement, because lots of people have red wine at night, or have any wine at night or a beer or whatever. Drinking alcohol can, of course, increase the risk of liver damage from the supplements. The woman has received steroids, and doctors asked her not to take the supplement again. Duh.
Right.
According to the report. So that's really scary.
Yeah, and she's got to be kicking herself here, right? I mean, because she did it to herself. Right?
But she didn't know.
No.
She thought, you buy these things at a health food store. You think it's healthy.
Yeah. Can she sue? I mean, is that what people do? I mean, we were just talking about the lawsuit against the
suppose she
OxyContin
could.
people. Is this the thing now? Because they didn't put warning labels all over their stuff.
But there are warning labels. This has not been on every nutraceutical. There has to be by law a warning label saying this is not right. This product is not regulated by the FDA. It is not meant to treat or diagnose or something like that any condition.
Yeah.
And so. They may, on the front of the bottle, make all the claims that it can do, it cure everything from scabies to cancer.
Yeah.
But it on the back, it'll say...
What are scabies?
They're little... Scabies are actually little like mites, I think.
I know.
I was being facetious.
Yes, you were.
So anyway, but on the back in the small print, it's usually in a little box.
Yeah.
It'll say not regulated by the FDA.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when people want you to put disclaimers on stuff, right? Because people don't usually read them. I mean, let's be really honest, right? It's like you said, they're in the small print. They're kind of tucked away somewhere. Sometimes you have to like peel back the label. And there's like a little thing on the back, and it's
Yes.
so tiny.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I think we need to bring back Joe Isuzu.
Right?
Do you remember those commercials?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Santa. And for all of you young people, he was selling cars, and he was the Isuzu, of course, is a car brand, and which I don't see on the road anymore.
No, I think they're gone.
I think they're gone. But he was the quintessential slimy car salesman, and so he would say some whopper of a lie, and then across the bottom of the screen it would say he's lying.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were great ads. I mean, absolutely great ads. And so maybe we need him to come back.
Right. Yeah, or like they did when the giant skull and crossbones on everything. This will kill you. That'll help you.
Well, I feel horrible for her. I mean, liver damage is awful.
Yeah, it is.
And now the good news is that the liver can heal
Yeah.
if as long as it's not cirrhotic.
Or she can take those other brand new miracle pills that are $1,000 a pill, and for $30,000 she can be cured again. The ones, yeah.
Yeah. So yes.
So you take a pill that messes.
It's for hepatitis.
Whatever. You take one pill that kills you. You take another one, brings you back. It's like the girl who went down the rabbit hole.
Alice in Wonderland.
That's the girl. They're just a pill for everything, Aaron.
Sure.
A pill for everything, and a lawsuit to top
One
it all
pill
off.
makes you larger, another makes you small.
Yes.
So now I need to play that song.
It's a crazy world we live in.
So speaking of medicinal things.
Yes. Marijuana?
Yes. Increased pot use in Colorado is sending more people to the hospital. So reefer madness isn't a thing. That movie was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But a new study out Tuesday is the latest to show that pot use, especially with edibles, can sometimes cause health problems serious enough to prompt a trip to the hospital. It found that people in Colorado have increasingly sought emergency care for cannabis-related symptoms like anxiety, rapid heartbeat, and a strange syndrome characterized by intense vomiting since recreational cannabis was legalized in the state. Colorado passed an amendment to legalize cannabis fully in 2012 and began to allow sales in 2014. And of course, it's everywhere. Researchers behind the study, published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, looked at medical records from patients who visited the emergency room department of UC Health, that's the University of Colorado Hospital. I think that's in Boulder, from 2012 to 2016. These visits have been initially diagnosed as related to cannabis use, with nearly 10,000 such visits documented between those years.
It's a pretty good sample pool.
That is. So about 10% of cannabis-related ED visits were associated with the edible forms of weed, but only about 0.32% of total cannabis sales were for edible products.
Yeah.
So that actually surprised them.
So ever since we've legalized here in California, my big complaint, and you've heard me talk about it multiple times as a teacher in a public school, is the edibles and kids on our campus, because parents buy this stuff, right? And they maybe leave it lying around. Kids think it's candy, whatever, and the kids are bringing this stuff to school. And we've had incidents with kids that are using this stuff, and it's really adverse effects. And I have a real issue, and I think we have to do a better job of labeling, a better job of educating. I'm worried that we're harming a lot of people out here with this stuff.
Oh, I agree, but I would say that these parents, I'm sure that these kids are getting it from, like, their parents are giving them the weed.
Yeah. Well, I believe that's definitely the case as well. I'm trying to be kind here, but no, it's a problem. I worry about the kids. I mean, parents are definitely at risk. I think everyone's at risk if the stuff isn't properly labeled and tested and all this stuff. But the kids are particularly vulnerable, especially when the edibles are involved.
So what they have learned is that 18% of visits related to edibles featured acute psychiatric symptoms, including panic attacks or bouts of psychosis, compared to 10% of visits for inhaled cannabis. Edibles were also more often associated with intoxication and cardiovascular symptoms. At the same time, smoking pot was associated with a greater rate of people needing hospitalization for their symptoms. One major reason was the higher incidence of a cannabinoid hyperemesis or hyperemesis syndrome. A condition that causes horrible stomach pain, repeated vomiting, and the compulsion to take hot water showers.
Wow. Okay.
So
I've never heard of that one before.
I haven't either.
Okay.
I mean, we're not really in that world,
No.
but I know we know a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
And that's kind of terrifying. Not to mention, talk about kids, the impact on the developing brain.
Yeah.
I mean, what adults choose to do, I'm pretty libertarian about it. But, when it comes to children, this will have lifelong impact. Their brains aren't finished developing until they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
And especially for middle school kids, no. They should not be taking this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. They have pictures here of some of the edibles on this article. And there's nothing on there that makes it jump out at you and go, "Oh my God, this is a drug."
No, there's just little tiny leaves that don't look like pot leaves. They're just leaves.
Yeah.
So it could be, well, and it says on here, the growing kitchen, choose health, choose herb.
Right. So I mean, it sounds. I'm choosing health. It's a healthy cookie.
It's a healthy cookie.
What kid wouldn't want a healthy cookie?
Well, what mom wouldn't want a healthy cookie? This is Mother's Little Helper right here. So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. Republicans are leaning on Democrats who control the House to back off investigations of President Trump. This after special counsel Robert Mueller concluded there was no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise says the final report from Mueller was a waste of money.
There was over $20 million of taxpayer money that was spent on this investigation, and it completely vindicates President Trump.
Meanwhile, House Democrats are introducing a bill to lock in protections for people with pre-existing medical conditions. The Justice Department is siding with a federal judge who ruled all of Obamacare is unconstitutional. A state lawmaker in Illinois plans to file legislation that would ban any production that employs actor Jussie Smollett from receiving a state film credit. Cook County prosecutors yesterday dropped charges against Smollett, who'd been accused of staging a hate crime attack against himself in Chicago back in January. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time to take a look at our roadways. I'm Erin Brinker. In Corona on the 91 westbound before 6th Street, an earlier stalled car has been moved out of lanes. Stop-and-go traffic is still backed up from Main Street. In Ludlow, this is all the way out on the 40 westbound after Crucero Road. The left lane is closed for recovery of a semi from an earlier crash. Boy, I'm doing great this morning. In Moreno Valley, on the Gilman Springs Road, both eastbound and westbound, between Highway 79 and the 60, all lanes are closed, completely shut down because there's a giant sinkhole. So this has been your traffic report. Drive carefully, everyone. I'm Erin Brinker, and this is KCAA.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. For this morning, a partly cloudy sky, times of clouds and sun today, with the day ending cloudy, the high 72. Clouds and a stray shower tonight, low 50. Thursday, mostly sunny with a bit of a breeze, the high 72. Friday, sunny skies, high 74. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center, 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA. 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and The Legacy, 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463.
This is KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink. Ooh, that was loud. We're on the brink, the morning show on KCAA. I think I turned up your mic. And so glad to have you with us. Like I always say, so glad to have you with us this morning. And we have a very special guest. There is a special election going on in the city of San Bernardino for the vacated 3rd Ward seat that was held by the now mayor, John Valdivia. So that seat has been vacant since he took office. And there are a couple of people running, one of whom has joined us today. Her name is Treasure Ortiz, and her story is incredible. She used to be a boxer, and I want her to tell her story. So Treasure, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you guys so much for having me.
So who are you? For the people who have never met you, who is Treasure Ortiz?
I am just like everybody else, but I have had an amazing experience in life. I grew up in a boxing family. My father owned a boxing gym up in Big Bear, California, and that was a big portion of our life was training, meeting world champions, traveling, and just seeing the most amazing people who just had drive like you wouldn't believe.
So I got to jump in here. Your family's boxing royalty. So who are your family members? Come on, give us some names.
Tito Ortiz, Carlos Ortiz was a world champion.
Wow.
My twin brother Tyree Ortiz was a heavyweight fighter. We have a lot of extensions, but mostly just cousins all over the world, just fought and fought. So those are the big ones.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what did that teach you about tenacity?
You never give up. I had the opportunity when I was younger. Johnny Tapia, who was a world champion, once told me that the only fight you lose is the one when you don't get in the ring. And that just stuck with me. I was a kid. I didn't really know what it meant until now.
You're like, oh, I got it now.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So why are you running for the 3rd Ward Council seat in San Bernardino?
Yeah, I used to work for the city, and I really thought a lot of what I was doing was really making a difference. And then when my representative John Valdivia became the mayor, I saw all the things that he was trying to do without any oversight, any checks and balances, and I just had to say, you know what? No, this can't happen anymore. You're not going to use the city as a piggy bank. You're not going to handpick a successor and just tell the rest of us this is what you get because this is what I want.
Now, you know what you're talking about. Not only work for the city, you have an education in city management and public administration. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I came to San Bernardino in 2012. I was working on my bachelor's degree at Cal State in public administration with a focus in HR, and I got hired onto our civil service department as an intern, so I did the hiring and testing for the city. I was asked to continue on as an apprentice, and I went forward and received my master's degree and was hired on full time to hire the police department, fire department, water, and public works. And I always believe that if you're going to do a job, you should understand it like holistically as well as fundamentally. So it was the education and the hands-on experience, and I've parlayed that into, I'm right now a doctoral candidate trying to, fingers crossed, finish by June with a degree in public policy.
Ah, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. So speaking of policy, what do you plan to do if you're elected?
Well, one of the first things I want to do is retract the outsourcing of our animal shelter that happened the other night. I don't know if you guys were aware, at 11:15 p.m. they went to contract with the county of Riverside. They said that they didn't have the funds, and to me the biggest issue is that we talk about reallocation of funds, we talk about a budgetary process, but there's no transparency in that process. So I really want to look at it, dissect where this money has been and gone.
So there was like $600,000 that was allocated for the shelter, and judging by the condition of the shelter, that money wasn't spent.
No, and one of the things I tell people is I was hiring animal shelter employees 5 years ago. The animal shelter, it looks the same then as it does now. All they've done is just deteriorated it, because in this bankruptcy process they've been allowed to sidestep responsibilities and blame it on the fact that we're in a process. And it's today because now the mayor has his own agenda to go build substations, to go build a jail, to go fund.
I'm sorry, he's going to build a jail?
Yeah, they want to reopen and rebuild the jail.
With what money?
Well, that's why they got rid of the animal shelter.
Okay, so but here's the thing with the animal shelter, because it hasn't been. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I know that the people who support the shelter are very, very passionate, and I certainly don't want to poke the dog, so to speak. But the city has not run it well, like ever. It's never been run well. And so outsourcing it seems humane to me, because at least Riverside County has a reputation for running their animal shelters well. Am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, actually, Riverside has a really high kill rate, and the amount of fees that it's going to take to take your animal there if it's caught is higher than what we charge. Being able to, the accessibility of residents to drive from San Bernardino to Riverside is also the other issue, and it's not the best option. Saying that we're not taking, it's because something is mismanaged is not enough, in my opinion, to say that it failed. And that we need to find something else away from actually making solutions. And that's what the city really did. Is they said, you know what, we let this go by the wayside. Okay, bye.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that I don't think there's any city department that has a more passionate following than the folks who follow the animal shelter and who have made that a priority.
Well, animals can't speak for themselves. When I was there, I used to foster. So if I one day I was sitting and someone just had this little dog, and he couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 months old, just a little puppy, and they were like, well, we don't really have room for him. And I said, I'll take him. And I named him Oscar de la Renta because he was very fancy. And
do you still have him?
I do not. I kept him for a little bit. I just made sure he was healthy, he was eating. And then when there was a family came, they kind of said, hey, we're looking for this type of puppy. I brought him back to the shelter. And I did it a couple times because I have my own fur babies. I don't have children, so I have my dogs. And that it's that type of like community that we really have. People really do care about. They bring food, they bring shelter, we get donations, and so to say that, I mean, it's like this really one thing in the community that everybody agrees on is our shelter.
Right.
And we have a lot of disagreements
about everything, about stupid stuff, but the shelter is one that we can all agree on.
So I want to go back to something you said earlier in the interview about the mayor's handpicked successor. And the way I look at this race, you're kind of the underdog. Right, it looks like the mayor has put a lot of weight and a lot of resources behind his candidate, and so I wanted you to address that and sort of some of the negative stuff. 'Cause I know some stuff came out yesterday, and I've seen your response, and I think our listeners deserve to sort of know what's going on and how you plan to deal with being the underdog in this race.
Sure. Well, when I first got into this, I went to go meet the mayor because he was my rep, and I thought like this would be a great opportunity. And he told me, I'm not telling you not to run, but I wouldn't run. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get nasty. And I've told the other people that have wanted to sit down with me, I already have somebody that I'm supporting. I've picked him. And I was just like, wow, that's mighty authoritative of you just to tell me who my next rep is. And because he, because of the game, the only way for people who want control, bullies. I mean, really, if you look at the way the mayor's tactics are, he's a bully. And, people think you walk away from bullies. They learn one of two ways. Either you tell them, no, don't do that, or two, you stand toe to toe with them and they get knocked down. And I refuse to walk away, and I refuse to allow someone to dictate the future of the city of San Bernardino on their own agenda. And yesterday, it's just so funny because the things that they say are, these scandals, like my voting record. Well, one, I didn't move to San Bernardino till September of 2012, so I could not have voted early on. And not only that, just like 99% of my residents, I have 12,000 registered voters in a 35,000 population ward. 90 and only 1,500 are high propensity. It takes John Valdivia ran unopposed when they moved him into the third ward. Actually, he ran against you.
Yeah, he did.
He was moved into the ward. He didn't live here just to beat an incumbent because a union was supporting him with over $100,000 so they could have their contracts be benefited by a council person. And then he ran unopposed and only got 700 votes.
Yeah.
So the thing that and Tobin and I are residents of this ward, obviously, because Tobin was the council member for this ward a long time ago, and the thing that scares me is that I see this spending, and it hasn't been very long since we emerged from bankruptcy. If we end up back in bankruptcy because nobody's minding the store or they just don't care, what is that going to do to our property values? What is it going to do to quality of life in San Bernardino? What is it? I mean, honestly, this is reckless.
It's dangerously reckless, and this is what I told them yesterday. You know, I filed for bankruptcy when I was 23. I'd been in a car accident and my surmountable debt from what wasn't paid by insurance, and you know, it's different than a municipal malfeasance on their part, but the process to get out of a bankruptcy, I keep telling people, bankruptcy is not the worst thing that has ever happened to a person. It gives them an opportunity to reorganize, reassess, and move forward. The failure comes in when you do not learn from your mistakes, when you think that because you filed bankruptcy, you have $1 million the next day. For me, I was still making $8 an hour. I was paying rent and I had a car. For the city, they have no new revenue coming in. They're looking to Sunset Z, which funds $8 million to the police, is going to set next year, and we've already been told we have a $7 million deficit coming in the next 5 years. So let's lose Measure Z. That's $8 million on top of that 7.
Oh,
and we've just approved $1 million of expenditures in the last 3.5 months. We just gave $700,000 to the police station for promotions, which I get, but we pulled 7 officers off the streets to do it. It doesn't make sense. And the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there, please understand this. At midnight, there was a public hearing last Wednesday when they changed the municipal code to allow the mayor to put whatever he wanted on the agenda. Now, what this means is it does not have to go through the city manager. It does not have to go through the budgetary process. They can give themselves raises, or they can call a special meeting like tonight at 5:30 to do a budget workshop, which an emergency meeting is meant for emergency purposes, not to just hold a budget workshop with no backup information. They didn't even provide the budget. It's a mayor's special meeting.
How is that not a Brown Act problem?
It is. In my opinion, it is. And there are other people that are already looking at. I was contacted and said, hey, you know, what is this, the scope of the Brown Act? And I'm like, emergency to me is emergency, not a budget workshop.
No.
Yeah.
Well, emergency is there's a flood in the city or a fire in the city or a sinkhole on East Street or, you know, something like that.
Yes, not to move a personal agenda forward. And my biggest concern is, like always, is finding a way to circumvent and blame the city manager or staff for the failures that are happening on the dais.
So how do people learn more about you and get involved, maybe get a yard sign to pound in the yard, etc.?
I'm big on my Facebook. It's Treasurer Ortiz for San Bernardino City Council. It's got all my live streams. It has, you can message me. I'm back and forth on talking to everybody directly. And to me, information is knowledge, and that's where I want everybody to go. You can email me, treasurerforcitycouncil@gmail.com, but really I would hit me up on Facebook.
And you also encourage donations. You don't have the big union money. You need the average citizens to, you know, $10, $25, whatever they can give.
Yes, I'm a grassroots candidate. You know, I came into this wanting to change what I could on my own. So yeah, any donation I super appreciate. It's going to go towards a candidate that's independent, free to speak on their own, and that will be able to vote in the best interest of the 3rd Ward, not their hand-picked, paid-for sugar daddy.
Well, Treasurer Ortiz, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Oh, one other thing I forgot to ask. The election day is May 7th, but this is a mail-in only election. So when do the ballots drop?
April 10th.
April 10th. So you have between April 10th and May 7th to vote, and get out there. This is important, guys. This is really important, and it impacts everybody who lives in the city, but especially everybody who lives in the 3rd Ward. So Treasurer Ortiz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Tobin, it's time for a break. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
Education is a right, not a privilege, and it is the civil rights issue of our generation. And Latino students disproportionately bear the crux of our educational crisis. The campus of Cal State San Bernardino is pleased to host the annual LEAD Summit, along with hundreds of viewing sites across the nation and globe, working together with our media partners to raise awareness and enhance the intellectual, cultural, and personal development of our community's educators, administrators, leaders, parents, and students. Please join us for Latino Education and Advocacy Days as we convene those sharing a common interest and commitment to the educational issues that impact Latinos. For more information, please visit leadsummit.csusb.edu. Again, that website is leadsummit.csusb.edu. The LEAD Summit, Latino Education and Advocacy Days, taking place at Cal State San Bernardino.
Thursday, March 28th at Cal State San Bernardino. The Lead Summit starts at 8 a.m.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com, or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197. The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from C's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the Mall with a Heart.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-298-8662. That's 800-298-8662. 800-298-8662.
Looking for a new place to eat, delicious food at a great value? The Tri-City Center in Redlands is proud to announce the grand opening of a fine new dining establishment. Terry's Diner, at the former location of the Spunky Steer in Redlands, is officially open for business daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with delicious, mouth-watering breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Treat yourself to Terry's tasty dessert menu, such as Terry's famous sundaes, banana splits, hot fudge cake, old-fashioned root beer floats, Frosties, cakes and pies, too. You'll find weekly lunch and dinner specials all under $10, including Angus steaks, burgers, Greek salads, pasta seafoods with wine and beer. Terry's brings years of tasty temptations from DJs in San Bernardino and Alta Loma. Join a new tradition in Redlands. Stop by at 1350 Industrial Park Avenue between Tennessee and Alabama in the Tri-City Center. Google Terry's Diner Redlands on Yelp or find them terrysdinerredlands.com.
So, you didn't like that opinion. Okay, give us another 15 minutes. This is the station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So, Jussie Smollett, I am so frustrated.
Free Jussie.
Yeah, give me a break. So, charges have been dropped.
Yeah, they have.
And they basically kept his bail and said, well, okay, we good. Really? If it were anybody else who had perpetrated this kind of hoax, other than a Hollywood, actor, and a third-rate actor on a show that nobody watches, let's be honest.
It's getting deep in here.
Yeah, but he's.
But he's friends with important people.
He is. He's friends with important people. Namely, there's a connection there to Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama intervened.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated. And the police department in Chicago is also angry. And Rahm Emanuel has come out and said, no, this is not good.
Yeah.
Because he made up this ridiculous, unbelievable lie, wasted all of this taxpayer resources. And Illinois is a state that's in worse financial shape than I think all other states. It's in bad shape.
Yeah.
And Chicago, of course, is in bad shape. And so he wasted all these resources. And what he did could have sparked a race war, or at least, race riot in Chicago, because, he said that he was attacked by two rednecks with MAGA hats.
That's right.
And it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
He was attacked by two brothers that he paid.
Exactly.
Two brothers from the islands.
Yes, exactly. And yeah.
But he's still sticking to his story, Aaron. Jussie Smollett is still saying that here's quote, "I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of doing what I was accused of."
Yes. Oh, you're such a scumbag liar.
And then he goes on, he says, "I'd like nothing more than to just get back to work and move on with my life. But make no mistake, I will always continue to fight for the justice, equality, and betterment of marginalized people everywhere."
Okay.
He's a fighter, Aaron.
No, marginalized my eye. For, this is about him and getting, because we have so fetishized victimhood.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was looking for that word. Victimhood, that, he was going to be the ultimate victim. Poor guy just wanted a sandwich at Subway.
Hold on, Aaron. He said, this is Jussie Smollett again. This has been an incredibly difficult time. Honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. Aaron, this has been hard on him. This has been very difficult.
3 words for you, dude. Boo freaking who. Give me a break.
So if a wife of a former president gets involved, is that a scandal? Is this a scandal? Are we watching a scandal?
Well,
is
yeah.
this scandalous?
Okay, let's be honest. If this were a Republican first lady who was doing it, it would be all over the news everywhere.
If it was Hillary that had made that phone call?
No.
Would we be? Yeah, that would be a scandal. This would be front page. Hillary. Yeah.
No.
But because it's
Michelle
Obama, and she was a little more low key, and she's just had that beautiful book, and she's such a classy lady, we're all cool with it. Oh, sure, it's Michelle. Okay. Am I right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Barbara Bush. If Barbara Bush had done this, people are okay with it?
Well, that would be really hard because she passed away.
But I'm just saying.
She intervened
but if
at the seance.
Had it been,
Lord,
when she was alive, if she had called and get somebody out of, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah. So Rob. Oh my gosh, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Yes. Josh Lyman slammed the decision and called it a whitewash of justice from top to bottom. This is not on the level. According to the police, they say, "Do I think justice was served? No," says Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson. Edward Wadnicki, a senior Chicago detective, calls it as absolutely a punch in the gut that is just shocking. And Smollett's lawyer, Patricia Brown Holmes, says she didn't make any deal with prosecutors. There's no deferred prosecution, she tells the Chicago Sun-Times. The state dismissed the charges. We believe it was the correct result. Of course you do.
So listen, when I first saw the headline, I honestly thought, okay, they've made a deal, right? Like that there was going to be some admission of guilt for some lesser charges or something. Because that's normally what you see, right? Like when you have a case like this, everyone kind of just wants to make it go away. So they'll work out some sort of deal. But there wasn't even that.
No.
He didn't even have to admit to anything.
No. You want to know what privilege looks like? This is what a privilege looks like. The scandal with the kids going to the elite colleges because they paid, that's what privilege looks like.
Yeah.
So with that, we are at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Have a great day, everyone.
Deine Augen machen bling bling und alles ist vergessen, deine Augen machen bling bling und alles ist vergessen, deine Augen machen bling bling und alles ist vergessen, deine Augen machen bling bling und alles ist vergessen, deine Augen machen bling bling und alles ist vergessen.